Okay.
All right, go for it.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm gonna have to one day actually go to a coffee chat with you to see how you plan because I haven't even started. Like I think when you're super well, when I was really young, I just never even thought of that. I was like, I need to get out and go to school and do all this. And now that I'm out, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah,
is this what I was coming out
time
for?
flies. Time flies.
And so I really had to start like thinking about that. I'm prepping.
What you want to do and making sure that you have, at least a little,
guardadito.
Nest to fall back on. Like here, like where I live, it's a rental. So any day they can ask you for your house, your place. And so where are you gonna go? What do you have? What if you can't afford it anymore?
And it's it is very a real thing, right? That you won't be able to afford it.
It's very real.
Very expensive.
The house that I'm at right now the rentals are like $4,500. It's like, dude, that's like my whole paycheck.
Yeah.
And then what are you gonna eat? How are you gonna pay everything else?
Yeah.
And then so I just need to fall back. I bought a house over there already.
Good for you, Maricela.
So then now it's like, si me corren, I have somewhere to go.
Mexico. In Mexico, the good thing about out there is that
you don't have a
puedes sobrevivir from like, you can sell your little
business.
Yes. People always are so
I'm from a town that is super progressive. That is like every other house has a business. It doesn't matter if you're selling gelatinas or whatever you do. Money. Somebody's already making it and selling it, and so I'm not afraid of that. I'm just, getting ready.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's exciting, Maricela. That's exciting stuff. I want to get there too, girl. I want to retire already.
I know.
Okay, Maricela. We'll get started. So again, really casual, and then if there's anything you want to like just expand on or talk, we can definitely do that. Okay. So I'll jump in. So welcome, Maricela, to our podcast called Off the Field. Maricela Cruz is one of our board members, and she's a local from Salinas, born and raised. We'll just go straight into it with the first question. Maricela, could you share how you became involved with the Salinas Regional Sports Authority, our nonprofit organization that manages the soccer complex?
Sure. So my son started playing soccer when he was 4. He is actually now 30. So we had a soccer team of little boys, and we were involved with a lot of the local leagues, and we grew our club to have about 4 teams, Club Leon, and we had kids of all ages, and I started being more involved with the Salinas Soccer League. And the Salinas Soccer League, the leadership was really old school. And they didn't, back then it's hard to say wasn't a thing. It was a different organization. And they didn't want to be involved. They wanted to be left alone. It's kind of silo. And I've always been kind of a collaborative type of person. Like, hey, let's, the more the merrier. And I was approached by Alfred, in paz descanse, Alfred Disenfante and Alex Reynoso, and they asked me if I wanted to be part of this project, and mostly because they knew that I had some sort of a leadership role with Salinas Soccer League, and so they wanted to change that dynamic, that mindset that they had. And so I said, I want to be part of this project. Back then, it was just the Constitution Soccer Complex. There was no plans for it yet, but we wanted to grow into something bigger. So I was invited, and they approved my membership, and I've been here ever since. Part of the whole initiative of starting this whole project, making it bigger, making it nicer. At one point, we gathered, I want to say over 10,000 signatures. So we were really involved with the politics. Copa really helped us out. So there was a bunch of organizations helping out, a lot of the local leadership, the city council. The mayor, que en paz descanse, he was really good with us, and so that's how I became involved. Later on, I was able to set up my business, do the soccer store. I mean, we've been involved in soccer since I was a kid. My parents had their own soccer team in Mexico, and so soccer has always been really big with us in our family. So now being part of this project and actually seeing it come to life, because it seemed like so far away and so much work into it, and so many people asking us, like, why are you guys taking so long? Why is this taking so long? Is this even gonna happen? What happened to all the money that you guys got and all these signatures? Sometimes it gets overwhelming because there's so much doubt. Because our community has been burned a lot of times, and so I understand all the questions, and I'm always open to answer. But it does get to me that people want things to move so fast when they don't understand the way that we need to collaborate with city and county and all these other governments and laws and the state and CEQAs and all these studies that we need to go through, plus getting the money. We're not a private entity that can just build and pay for everything on its own. We're not a big business entity as well. So we have to collaborate. We have to ask for grants. We have to do all this that most of the time with private projects you don't see. And so it's taken time, but it's beautiful to see how this project is coming to life and seeing little by little how everybody is able to play now on nice fields, because we used to have so many broken ankles and feet and everything on our fields because they were so bad. And still, even with the project coming along, we still don't have enough fields for so many players here in the county. Even just in the city of Salinas alone, we still won't have enough. So I'm hoping that we can expand and keep growing.
And you kind of touched a little bit about this, but honestly, Maricela, that's really awesome, because you really started from the beginning, so you really have been able to see like all of it, right? Like the transformation, but then also you've been through from the beginning, getting them signatures, and then like the pushback from the community, which you're right, like sometimes people don't always get to see those things, but I think there's a lot of excitement when people pass by the soccer complex, and I think people that have seen the soccer complex to what it was before and what it is now definitely are always coming and talking about just like the transformation, because that it's something you see, but it definitely is and has taken a lot of work. But with that being said, Maricela, like how does it feel for you? Like, you, again, like the board and the people managing our nonprofit and managing the soccer complex are really all like, it is a really big locally, I say it's like for locals by locals, right? And so you really all have been born and raised or have such deep root connections here in Salinas, and you are also invested in like having this project get completed and seeing that transformation. Like, what does it feel like for you to know that you are part of this? And even when you think back to how the fields were and how they are now, how does that make you feel in terms of just seeing the actual progress?
It's exciting. It feels like you're leaving something behind, that you've been part of something that's going to be here for years. So it's going to be a legacy for all of us that were involved, because we've put up a fight. We've been through a lot of battles. We've seen board members come and go. We've seen people pass away that were involved. And so every single person that has been involved has their little grain of, sand into this project. So just seeing how the turnaround has happened, even though it's slowly, it's been surely. We've kept our fingers and on the line, and we know where we're heading and we know what we want. So we've put pressure on politicians. We've been involved. I mean, I've been in politics myself. So it's it's an awesome project, and it's something that is going to stay here forever. And I'm hoping that the community can take care of this project and can really make it its own and care for it. Like, I know that when we're playing here at the soccer field and I see a piece of trash or something, I pick it up. I pick it up and I look for the nearest can, or I'll take it home to pick up a little bag, because I feel like if it is a little bit mine, because we've been here, and I hope that everybody feels that it's a little bit theirs, and that every little thing that they can do for it is just to make it long-standing, so that our grandkids can play here. I mean, my son was 4 when he was playing here. He's 30 now. So it's been 26 years, and he passes by, and his son will hopefully come and play here. And, you know what I mean? So it's important. It's important to me and I hope to be involved in years to come. And I'm always there for people to answer their questions and their doubts. Like, I get all these questions, especially being at the business. I see all the soccer people, everybody's there, and so they have questions like, oh, who's doing this, or why are they charging for parking, or why, so I find myself explaining a lot, like, this is what it's costing, this is what the city's putting on there. So I really have to know my numbers so that I can give people a picture of it.
Yeah.
And be truthful with them. And then
they're transparency.
And then they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, it's like at your house, who pays the bills? Somebody has to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And if you don't work, where do you want to come from?
Yeah.
So we're putting in work to get things done.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I always say, progress, it always feels so slow for some reason, but it's there, and it's consistency, right?
And you're gonna see it, and people are gonna come and go, and it's just gonna be here. So you really want people to be vested in, and people to really care, so that when time comes, they come, and then, like I said, it's partially yours.
Yeah.
Take care of it, be proud of it, invite people over.
Yeah.
Make it bigger.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. I think that's amazing. And that kind of goes into our next question. And you kind of already touched upon this, but if you'd like to expand, I think, what is your vision, Maricela, in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, what is that one thing that you're like, this is the one thing I want our soccer complex, our Salinas Regional Soccer Complex, to really have?
I really want it to be a community resource, a community hub. I want to have the big health fairs here. I want to be able to bring a professional soccer team and showcase what we've done, and show that, for a town the size of Salinas, we have one of the best sports complexes around, and how important soccer is ingrained, and how it is ingrained in our community.
Yeah.
And how not only is it a beautiful complex, or is it going to become a beautiful complex, it's a resource, but it's also a lifesaver, because a lot of these kids could be out there doing something else. And I've always said this: a bored kid is a dangerous kid. And so we have here, the whole family is involved. The papa, he's the coach, and the mom is usually the team manager, and they do the fundraising together, and they do, the cookouts, and they have the party. I see clubs that have now parties, like for Halloween, and it's awesome, And I remember it happening with our team, and we were actually pioneers for a lot of the things that the kids do now with the teams, and the parents do with the teams. So to me, it's also an escape from the daily routine. It's a connection back to our hometowns, where we had soccer every Sunday, whether it was on dirt fields. We didn't have organized sports when we were little kids.
Yeah.
We weren't part of an actual team, but hey, we played cascaritas on the dirt field outside the house, and, the occasional fighting or whatever between the kids because somebody got kicked too hard or whatever. But it was part of us growing up, and it was a connection that still remains, So those memories come back. And it's, like I said, it's a lifesaver for a lot of the kids that have nothing else to do, that parents have to work, sometimes 2-3 jobs. There's nobody at home, and those coaches go and pick them up. We go drop them off. We bring them to the field.
Yeah.
And it's like a second family.
Yeah.
And for them, either it's a second family on the soccer field, or it's a second family on the streets.
Yeah.
So we have to look at it in a way where we're offering these kids a safe space and an alternative to the gangs in the streets and the drugs and everything else.
Yeah, and it really is, like, even just the investment of having it here, like, it really is. It really is a like the return on investment for the youth and the space, and I think that's so interesting with that, because you can, like, I'm not a soccer fanatic. Oh my gosh, people are gonna hate me. I'm not gonna get canceled.
Right.
I haven't even become anybody, and I'm already canceled. No, but I wasn't born and raised in Salinas. I came in was hired on to do this job. But when I came to the soccer complex, like, I was so in awe. I really was, with the sense of community that you can see and you can feel, and like the level of representation, right? Because there's like so many people, and like, the idea of like just the fact that there's this space where like it's so ingrained in our culture, like, I I come here and like you hear the parents speaking Spanish, you hear the little kids speaking Spanish, even the food, like it's just, it also is, it's a safe space, but then there's also this like extra layer of like also a safe space for us to just, for people to just exist within their own culture, if that makes sense. And I see that, and I think for me, like that was, I think that was what I took this moment where I was like, it was a really big moment for me, because I don't think I had seen that before, like this really, like for my town didn't really feel like that. I feel like we always felt like we were the minority a little bit, you know, but when I came here I was just like, what, they have like it just, the sense of culture here, or like my culture, I see it, and just the acceptance, right, like people from different cultures, different ethnicities, and it really is something so beautiful to witness.
It just brings people together. It brings people together, and it really doesn't matter, you know, if you're born here or born, you know, if you're black, white, green, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Soccer is just universal.
Yeah.
And like I said, it creates a connection. It creates a memory back to our hometowns, back to our childhood. So parents, you know, they come here and it's like they've been doing this for years since they left their little town, sometimes not going back. So it's just a way of bringing them closer.
Oh, that makes me feel, that makes me feel some type of way about it. Because I think I never really thought about it from that perspective of like the people that have left their homes and, you know, like now they're here, and this feels that like that little piece of home for them, you know? Yeah. And that's really beautiful that you can offer people that. Okay, what are some little known facts about our Salinas Regional Soccer Complex that the public might not be aware of?
So the Salinas Regional Soccer Complex logo, have you seen the logo before? That was a competition that we did, and a student designed it. This is a youth student soccer player that designed the logo, and so we've kept it, and they won the competition. And we've had that logo now, I can't even say if it's been 10 years, 8 years or so. But it was student created. It was created by the youth. So they won an award, and we kept that logo, the SRSA logo.
That's a really good fact, like a little fun fact. I actually totally forgot about that.
Yeah, and then let's see. So another thing that people don't know and they don't realize is that this land is owned by the county, and then it was leased to the city.
Okay.
And then it was leased to us, to SRSA, or handed over to us. So it's like a collaboration between 3 entities.
Yeah.
And so people say like, oh, why don't the city do this, or why doesn't the city do that? It doesn't belong to the city.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit confusing and intricate at times.
Yeah.
But I think people need to know that so that they can understand a little bit of how complex it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so maybe not a fun fact, but a little bit
it's
clear.
Yeah.
It's a true.
It's a true fact.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that because of the soccer complex, we've been able to bring together all of the soccer leagues, which, I mean, I remember when I started, it was animosity. They wouldn't talk to each other. They couldn't stand each other. The directors, the presidents, however you want to call them, nobody wanted to work with each other. It was a competition just for fields alone, and it was creating, you know, a hostile environments for a lot of them. And so now we've managed to bring them all together, and then some of them collaborate. Like, hey, I'm not going to use a field. Do you want to borrow it? Hey, which hadn't been done before. Yeah. And I'm like I said, they didn't even want to be part of SRSA.
What would you attribute, Maricela, the shift in mindset for the leagues?
I think it was a lot of the education and the need for them to be able to, or being forced to collaborate so that they can use the fields, you know? And so I think making them think that you're not competing for the fields. Everybody's going to have access to them.
Yeah.
You know, all we need is everybody to be clear and to be transparent and to come to the table willing to talk and willing to work with each other.
Yeah.
You know, so Jonathan really did a good job in bringing them together, inviting them over, and giving them a safe space.
Yeah.
You know, where they can all, you know, either speak their mind or be able to share. And the way we're trying to do it is for it to be equitable for everybody. You know, the smallest league is, of course, less playing time. The biggest league gets more playing time, but that's because of the people involved, because of the players involved, the amount of players, not because of who's at the front or who's at the back or who's paying more or who's not paying more. So I think that the way of doing things has really shifted, thanks to the leadership within SRSA and to the people that are in the front lines, you know, bringing them together and letting them know that, you know, everybody's going to get a space. Everybody just needs to be able to work with each other and be cordial, you know, most of all. And you know, because the problems along the leagues are all the same. Yeah. You know, all of them have the same issues. All of them struggle, you know, and it's the same struggle. So I think it's just making everybody see that, you know, you go through the same struggles. Let's just do something about it. Yeah.
Like, and, you know, together there's so much more that can be truly done, you know, than when you're isolated and you're like trying to figure out. And I will also say, I think that's Jonathan's gift. Like, I really do say that because even as when we started to build like the team, the support with the soccer complex, I feel like that's one of his gifts, that he really does give people
just bring people
a
together.
Space where they can feel like safe and seen. And I think that's really important because, you know, if the feedback isn't being like, if people are not being courageous enough to even just have give the feedback or have the conversations, you know, then nothing will ever, like, we can work towards something. No. But once the conversations are being had, and like you've said, it doesn't happen overnight, but I think it's like we're in the work together.
Yeah, it's been a work in progress. Yeah, but I think they're good. You know, they're getting there. They're gonna get there. And once they see the more available fields and you know, that we're open to everybody using the fields, and we're working towards the being equitable and we just need them to be, you know, cooperative and to be, you know, accessible. Yeah. You know, be accessible. But
Maricela, I think you've probably already done this, but so you let me know if you feel like you want to add something or if you want to just skip the question, okay? But can you share a personal story or story to highlight like your connection to our mission?
Okay. So, like I said, most of what I've done and what I do is because of the kids. Yeah. Because we need an outlet for the kids, because we need a place where the families can come and be together. Yeah. So my personal connection to it, besides my kids playing soccer and having, you know, safe and good quality fields for them, is the fact that we're getting these kids off the streets. And we've lost a lot of kids, a lot of players, or kids that used to play and somehow, some way they fell through the cracks and they're in jail or they're gone. Yeah. And coming from that as well, it has really taught me that even if your parents aren't there, somebody will be. So whether it's a coach or another parent or, you know, even the other kids, friends, you know, and the kids that grew up and played together, and now for some reason or another, they're in the street and they see each other. They're still soccer buddies. Yeah, you know? They're still soccer buddies. Yeah. And oh yeah, I remember you, and oh yeah, you know, cool with each other. So it's about saving lives. It's about saving kids. It's about saving families. You know, so to me, it's important, because if we would have had something like this, if we would have had something more accessible to us, then we wouldn't have gone the wrong way. You know, and luckily we got back on the right foot, but I think a lot of kids fall through the cracks. Yeah. And I think the more resources we have, the more spaces, the more venues we have for them, the less kids are going to be involved in something negative. Yeah.
And there's so many, like, even the science behind like connection and you know, when they're developing belonging and like a safe space, like mentally, what it does to someone mentally, right? Like their mental well-being, it really can be the difference between like, I think I was listening to a podcast where they were talking about like depression or something, and they were talking about like the medicine to it is connection. It's like when you're able to feel connection and we're hardwired for it, so when you get it at a really young age, it does definitely
it's human nature and we need it.
Yeah.
And kids are isolated. Sometimes they're at home, like I said, 20 hours by themselves. And what they do, watch TV. And then as soon as they grow up a little bit and they're able to leave the house, and they start hanging out with the wrong people. So we want to give them something to do.
Yeah, I definitely. That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Maricela. You're leaving me speechless, seriously. Maricela, you're a successful business owner. What advice would you offer any young individual aspiring, to start their own business?
So I've had my business since 2009.
Okay.
It's a soccer store, and my advice would be to not let go of your dreams. And to be, if you ever want to have a plan to do it, just be consistent, be clear, and don't give up. Don't give up, because sometimes things are bad at the beginning, and a lot of times things are bad at the beginning.
Yeah.
But if you keep going, we're going on 15 years.
15?
We're going on 15 years, and at the beginning, especially being a woman, being involved in soccer and everything, I wasn't even taken seriously. It wasn't heard of. A woman in soccer and then owning a business, which is a male-dominated sport.
Yeah.
What does she know about soccer? I go shopping at different soccer stores, local soccer stores, and I'd be ignored. And there was no respect there. And now, I'm the only soccer store that's owned by a woman locally, and then but I get to touch a lot of lives. I get to make a lot of decisions. So for the kids, don't give up. Look for resources. You want to start a business, have a plan, and then just keep going. There's so many resources out there. You just need to find the right person, the right organization that's going to help you guide through it, and then just don't give up.
I love that. I didn't know that, Maricela, that you were the only female who owns a soccer store locally. That's amazing. Oh my gosh. I feel like for me that's such an amazing fact to know. Okay, are there any final thoughts or messages you'd like to share, Maricela, that I didn't touch or ask you?
So, don't give up on us. We've been working at it hard for these, 15 years. We have a lot more to grow. We have bigger plans, and we want to see it through. And when this is done, it's going to be so beautiful that people are going to want to come and play here, and have the tournaments here, and build some more. Yeah, build some more, because there's the need. There's a need, and this is going to be top of the line. Hopefully our team members, our board members all stick around to have this done. The local politicians can be supportive, and that we can bring more youth like you, like Johnny, Edwin, to be involved, and to keep this going. Because we're going to go worldwide. We're going to retire.
No, take me with
you. But we want to leave people here that have the same passion and that have the same mindset, and they want to see that, and the commitment to the community. Yeah. Because that's what we're doing it for. It's not mine. I'm not making any money off of this. I don't get paid for any of this. Yeah. But it's something that we want to leave behind, so that you guys can grow it, that you guys could take care of it, and you guys can make it, a hub for if you want to do a farmer's market here, if you want to do a health fair, a huge health fair, countywide health fair for National Health Week, and bring the consulados and whatever, that it is a community resource, and that it is a place where this is probably the biggest space with it's going to have lots of parking. So whatever we decide to use it for, come, because it is for you. It's for the people, and it's for the kids, and it's going to be a place to be. And you see more people here on a given weekend than you go see at the mall. Yeah, it's oh my gosh, it's packed. And you go to the Pulga and you see more people here than you see at the Pulga. So it's the place to be, and the place where you want to be, and come and bring your kids, and and your soccer teams to play here, but just don't let it fall through the cracks, and don't let it not feel like if it's not yours, it's yours.
I love that. Okay, Maricela, we're going to wrap up with rapid fire questions.
All right.
So you can answer you can answer these questions with one word or up to 4 words, okay? And I know it's going to be a little bit hard because some of them are intended to be a little bit hard, but just say what comes into your mind. But okay. So which soccer team do you root for?
I root for 2. One is Chivas de Corazón.
Okay.
Y León de Nacimiento, because that's where I was born.
I love that. Okay. What's your favorite song, artist, or album?
Favorite artist is Gregory Isaacs.
Okay.
And I don't think I have a favorite song because there's a lot of them.
Okay. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
My favorite movie is Gladiator.
Okay.
And TV shows, too many, all mysteries.
What's your favorite hike or outdoor adventure you've been on?
Probably the hike to, and I would call it a hike because I don't do a lot of exercise, to Cristo Rey.
Okay. What's one thing you do to support your well-being?
I dance.
No way.
I love dancing.
Like folklorico, like just anything?
Whatever music's playing and I'm just walking down the street, I'll be dancing.
Oh, I love that. Okay, we're gonna have to make little reels of you, Maricela, like walking on the field, just playing your favorite song and dancing, and then we can put the information in the bottom for people to know.
My kids record me all the time. My husband records me all the time. Like, what are you doing? There's no music, and I'm like, it's in my head, bro. It's in my head.
Maricela, we should have started with that. That's our whole social media strategy right there. That's what we're gonna be pushing out.
Clips.
Yeah. Well, Maricela, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for talking to us, and thanks so much for the work that you've been doing, and I really appreciate it.
Nosotros también. We're really appreciative of all the young bodies that we have here, because it brings a new touch. Technology, it brings todo lo moderno. A new view, because we're probably mostly all old school and we do things a different way.
Yeah.
And although we try to catch up, it's not the same. You guys were born with a phone in your hand.
No, and you know what? That's so funny, Maricela, because our intern, shout out to our intern Aaron, who's producing the podcast. But our intern, I tell him that all the time. I'm like, Aaron, you have to come in and make this hit, because I feel like I have to, even that generational gap, when I'm working with him,
it's still more work for us, and it becomes so easy to them. And
easy.
It takes me a while to learn something, and I get it. I mean, I'll get the hang of it.
Yeah.
But it's for them, it's
so intuitive.
Natural.
It's intuitive, They're just
how do you turn this on? And it's oh, come on.
Yeah, I feel, or I'm even just being hip. I'm like, what do I do, Aaron, to be? And he's like,
nada.
Yeah, he's like looking at me like, girl.
Yeah, I know.
But awesome. All right, well, that concludes our class cut. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope you get a good project.
Yeah.
Get a good one going.
Yes.